Hello. As you may be wondering whose voice you're hearing on the other side of the speaker today, we're switching things up a little bit. My name is Lauren Best, and I was honored to be a guest on this podcast on the Scenic Route 3 years ago, and now we're at the 111th episode. So I asked Jen, can I come on and turn the tables a little bit to celebrate such a big milestone in her journey and in the journey of the podcast? And so we're here to celebrate. We're here to ask all the juicy questions, to find out what it's been like these past 3 years of just creating a wonderful archive of stories and of different possibilities that we perhaps didn't see possible 3 years ago. So, welcome. I'm so excited to be on the other side and
Yeah,
give
me
you
too.
your
I'm
own
equally
podcast.
excited and terrified.
Oh my gosh. Well, the best part of this, and what's really cool, I think, because when we met 3 years ago, I was a little hypnotherapist starting my journey of like taking the scenic route and not feeling like I had to have it all figured out and
Yeah.
still feeling the fear of all of that. And now have found this place where a lot of my work revolves around self-celebration. And, you coming and being a little uncomfortable with that is exactly where we're meant to be right now
I
because
know,
we're
I know.
going
I'm like, she's taking way too much pleasure out of this.
oh my God. Well, because you know why? It's just so fun. Like, I used to definitely be that person that didn't want to like put myself out there in this way, or like, it's like be humble, or like we should be thinking about what's next, right? And you know this, like, how cool is it that we've decided to take the scenic way of living life, of doing things, of experiencing who it is we are as humans or business owners or in relationships, all different types of relationships. So we're gonna like start off strong, and I'm gonna pull a card for you from my deck.
Hit
So
me.
for those who have not heard about this, it's a deck full of 50 cards that are all about celebrating yourself. So I'm gonna give a little shuffle and let's see like what comes up just as a Kickstarter. This one's flying high. Okay. Well, this is the perfect card for you. So
Hit
this
me.
card invites you to share how your joy has rippled out to those around you.
Oh, how my joy has rippled out. Oh, that's a really good one. Well, it's definitely not just joy that has rippled out through this
Mhm.
podcast, that's for sure.
Right?
Um, but joy is really in the the small like social media comments that come in and like, oh, like this was really helpful, or I have never thought of it this way, or like all these little tiny notes people leave me, and I'm like, yeah, this is exactly like why I'm still behind the mic, right? Well, people continue to reach out and just kind of like say what it meant to them to hear that, or some are also like, I heard that and that got me thinking of this. Like, how does that sit with you? And then we're kind of like going to discussion, or sometimes this discussion ends up being uh me being on their like that person's podcast and we hash it out. Um so
Passion.
yeah, well, I mean, that's a great thing, right? Like I don't really like come in with like, oh, I have the answers. Right?
No.
I mean, I think I do for that Polaroid picture of time, but I mean, here's like, look, this is what I'm thinking about. This is how one could approach this. This is kind of like the theoretical base for it. And then that's my 50 pence on it. And like, let me know how that sits with you, right? Kind of like that's the whole thing, the whole shtick of it. Yeah, so those are definitely the small choice how this rippled out into the
Right.
world.
And the really cool thing, like I love this card and I love that you got this too. Also because there's waves on it and like sound waves of your podcast. So cute.
Yeah.
But like we don't always know, right? How our joy or how it is, whatever it is we're putting out into the world, we don't always like tangibly see or we don't always receive those comments. Like we can create and put things out into the world and not always fully know how it's impacting people or who it's
Yeah.
reaching. Like, is that something that you ever thought about when you decided to put this podcast together and like begin to capture like your experiences and then also the experiences of all the amazing people that you've invited on? Like, is it something that you ever really considered like, wow, this is going to be shared to so many people beyond like who who I can see and in places that maybe I never dreamed? Is that something you even thought about at all, or just kind of like now realizing?
I mean, I I kind of thought about it in the sense of like it would be cool,
Mm,
like if that would happen, or like vision board kind of material. Like at it was always kind of like I just kind of want to feel at the beginning it was I want to try this podcasting thing and see if I like it. Um and then see how it goes. And then it was
mm,
more like, instead of me just talking to myself, I'm kind of like recording it and then just kind of like dropping it out. Um, and like it's kind of like my virtual balcony to talk to the masses.
I love that.
But like
It's a good visual. I can imagine you like on the balcony reciting to the world.
yeah, it's very Evita. But like, and then it was just, I was kind of like, oh, I see these very cool people online, and I'm curious what they think, and then
Mm,
I'm like, curious to know like what that person thinks on this. Or I saw a social media post or something from someone. I'm like, hey, this got me thinking. This is actually how I pitch most of my guests. Like,
mm.
oh, I've seen you talk about this. This got me thinking about that. Like, want to talk it over on my podcast? And that surprisingly works really
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's nothing that I kind of like had in mind. I'm also not sure if you can fully plan that.
Mm.
Um, like if you can really go out and be like, I'm gonna make like I don't know, whatever kind of viral thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I had a viral bit at the beginning of the year, I think in January, February this year, and that wasn't really something I planned. I didn't write what I wrote. Initially, it was on threads, um, with the intention of this might better go viral or else.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. There's just also a big part of luck or just like the right timing that's involved in it. Yeah, so I don't know how you can fully plan this. And still it's like I I have people listening in. Um and even like I was on a bit of a creative hiatus for the summer. I think I haven't put out a new episode in 4 months, from like April, May, June, July, something like that. And as people still came in and listened to old episodes. And that is absolutely wonderful. And and yet, like, because this is like a fully self-funded show, right? I don't do ads, I don't do sponsorships. Not that my numbers probably, not that anyone would give me money for my numbers. Maybe for like
Not
niche.
manifest that though.
Yeah, maybe for niche, because I think it's quite a well curated group of people who listen in. Um, but yeah, I mean, that would give a whole nother set of ideas because I don't do all these kind of like affiliate things because I don't know,
Yeah.
most of them are not really my thing.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, was it something I wished for? Sure. Could I really have planned it? Probably not. I don't know.
No. I love that you mentioned luck because I was actually visiting a friend and her husband a few weeks ago, and the two of them were talking. I was, asking them about their work and learning more about their work. And both of them were like, I wish people talked more about like the luck. Like, yes, like, there's working hard, but also like, wow, we're actually really lucky to work in such like a very small niche and receive so much work in that niche.
Yeah.
And like they both of them agreed, like, we don't put it past us that we got very lucky. So hearing that you like really wanted to celebrate that piece of luck, like how do you feel like believing in that luck has maybe shifted things for you? Like, is it something that you see like notice more in your life showing up in different ways? Or is it something that's like easier when you look back and can say, oh yeah, that was also like a piece of luck? Like, is it something you still incorporate it in like your present, kind of in this um,
Yeah.
casting of what could be possible as well?
Mm, mm. Yeah, that's a great question. Like from the very moment I kind of like see this, like I had this viral post, it was kind of like cascading.
Hmm.
I always knew right then and there that's also dumb luck to some
Hmm.
extent, right? And and behind the luck there is the work, right? I mean, I it's putting out content, and not just in the sense of I'm just gonna, I don't know, give, I don't know, post 50 things ChatGPT told me to write, right? But
Right.
like genuine content, whatever form or what form that may look like for you. But there is the work behind the luck part, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
if I wouldn't have done the work, the luck wouldn't have mattered. It would have nowhere to land on and latch on,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there was the work, and there's still the work with knowing, sometimes it's just, it needs maybe a little tweak, and the luck latches. So
Mm-hmm.
from a practical point of view, it definitely made me reshare things more often, maybe with like a different spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because as well as the message at the core might still be the same, it helps to kind of like have different spins on it for it to land with
Yeah.
a group of people, and
Yeah.
from there it can go viral, right? Like, it's definitely gave me permission to kind of like just repeat more, not just like
Mm-hmm.
same, but with like
Yeah.
light variations, instead of always kind of like really like do something new. Um, and it also like helped me to really kind of like stay true to the initial process, which was just I'm doing this because I like doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then may Lady Luck bless me again, right? Like it's
Yes.
it's that kind of thing. Um, and at the same time, when the whole viral thing when came on, and there were so many opportunities
Mm-hmm.
presenting itself suddenly, like some of them I took, and a lot of them I was like, yeah, no, that's not a fit.
Yeah.
Um, and I had a lot of people who were like, oh, like now you, I don't know, you should, I don't know, hustle more, or you should like get a PR agent and la 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 la. And I'm like, yes, I could do all these things, but it just wasn't. It didn't feel like the move to for
Mm-hmm.
me. So it was like, whatever will find me, find me.
Right. And
And if
that's
it found me once, it might find me again.
Yeah, I think I love that you talk about this because that was like one of my kind of core beliefs that I had to really work on over the last 5 years. I got to really look at because it was something that would come up, this like fear of missing out or this like want feeling like maybe I should latch onto something because this opportunity is presented to me and or if it's not like I need to keep chasing it, right? That chasing mentality and what you said like okay, being able to discern what is actually feeling good for you and not just something you think you should experience because people are saying like, "Oh, well, you should do this, you should do that." And it goes against that very essence of like why it is you started this project, right? And why it is you've like dedicated your life to finding like the beauty in doing things like maybe the long way around, but the way that actually like allows you to show up for yourself first and what it is you need and want and all of that. Is there anything you feel like looking back just to like manifest it to the universe that you're like feeling ready to call in because it has been 3 beautiful years of bringing so much to life. Is there anything that you've been a little curious about in terms of like, this could be interesting or this could be new kind of place I haven't, new path
Mm,
I haven't been down?
mm. I've I've really rediscovered my love for writing. So, and I don't really know where this is going. Um, right now, I think it might go down like the novel route or like me writing a novel, but I'm not sure yet. Like there
Yeah.
are pieces in me, but they're not coming out in any order that makes sense right now. So that's
Right.
probably a long work in progress. But in speaking of the podcast, something I'd really like to try out is kind of like taking it offline again. Like, I don't
Mm.
know, doing like a reading somewhere, right? Or like I don't know, live Q&A sounds silly because I don't know, there are smarter people for me
It
now,
doesn't sound silly at all. It sounds
right?
thrilling.
Like whatever kind of form. I don't know what kind of form it could have,
Yeah.
but that is something I really like. Really curious about because there is this on one hand, there's this set there. We're all kind of like oversatisfied. There's just we're oversaturated with like online stuff. Like I think it's just
Yeah.
really, ugh. And a lot of the online spaces also have grown icky. Um, and I feel even more people crave like offline communities and how this could become an offline thing. I'm not sure. But that would be really something that I'm like, maybe in 2026, let's see how this could look like.
Yeah, it sounds exciting, right? Because what it is like you are sharing through your experiences or other guests, right? Is things that we all experience in real life, right? What you've experienced in real life. So being able to like have that live experience, whatever form or shape that looks like, sounds like a beautiful experiment to just kind of see like, okay, what kind of path could this take me down that I never would have even thought of? If I hadn't like I'll just allow myself this space or like gathering with this group of people or like creating this type of stage or whatever it may be. So whatever you do, I'm coming to Switzerland.
I
Wherever
love
you
it.
do it.
I love it. I wanted you to say like, oh, I'm like, we're doing like, I don't know, we're doing like a road show in Canada, but
Yeah, we can do that too.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so I have your place to crash and my friends in Calgary, so I have two places to crash. Woohoo! And I actually have three. Her mom, she's in Kitchener, Ontario, so I have three places to crash.
That's really cute. I was just in Kitchener a few weeks ago, and it's like a
No
magical piece of
way!
Canada I'd never been before. And it's just like,
It's
I
not,
thought,
I mean,
why don't more people live here?
yeah, it's not like I've been there many times,
Oh,
and it's not the
wow.
most, I mean, you don't go there for beauty. Like, I don't want to upset Kitchener folks now,
There's
but
two swans. There are two swans, and they're gorgeous, gorgeous gals, guys. I don't know. But,
yeah, I was there when I was a teenager because
oh,
like
really?
she's one of my closest friends. She went to school with me here in
Mm.
Switzerland, and her mom's Canadian, and they moved back almost like 30 years ago at this point.
Oh,
And she often came visiting me, and I went visiting her, and um so yeah, so I profoundly remember Conestoga Mall in Kitchener was a place to be back then.
that's really funny. Maybe, yeah, maybe
Oh.
we really revisit Kitchener together. That'd be hilarious. So when you like think about maybe like because you have so many friends, right, around the world and people you've been able to maybe connect with because of this podcast, are there any people or like places where they live, any like because we're like getting back to like that joy and how it ripples and like sometimes we don't know how far we will reach. Is there any like where this podcast has had that reach that was just like very unexpected to you. Like, oh wow, like I'm getting to connect with this person and maybe they're around the corner from you, but just like any unexpected kind of like, oh, this is really cool moments.
Um, in terms of listeners, like everyone, I'm like, I don't know, someone wrote me from Australia, and I'm like, oh,
Wow.
sure, cool, I love it. Like that's, and in terms of guests, like I think one of my personal highlights was for sure having 𝗟𝗧𝗧'𝗦 on the podcast. Because like I read her book and I'm just really like yeah, absolutely fascinated in how she kind of like treats also like the whole online sphere and
Mm,
how she's going about this. And I'm like, yes, that was really really exciting.
yeah.
Um, in terms of places, that just made me think. I don't think I've ever had an Irish guest on.
Oh, well,
I had I had people from the UK, loads of
yeah.
them. I had people from Scotland, but I don't think I've ever had anyone from Ireland. So
Oh
if
my
you're listening and want to come on the podcast and you're from Ireland, you're in.
right? Who's gonna be the first?
Pitch me.
I love that. Okay, that's like the perfect like I've had this question. I feel like it's perfect to ask now. Who would be like a dream guest for you? Is there anyone that you've been thinking about or your heart's been fluttering about like whether it's like the work that they're putting into the world or like different questions they're asking? Anyone that has an exciting little invite that
Oh,
put out to the universe,
wow. This is really tough because I don't think I've ever really thought about this. I knew I
right?
wanted to have Aja Barbara on. That was really something like, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. And
Um,
what season is
I
that?
think like I know who I don't want to have on. That's good.
Yeah.
Like, the
Yeah.
people who, if they would ever call, you would be like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't even do it for the reach.
Right.
I think, I mean, who I would absolutely be fucking thrilled to have on, but would absolutely crap my pants would be Naomi Klein.
Oh,
Else I
okay.
would have no idea what I would ask her, but basically I would just shit my pants. But that would be really exciting.
That would be really exciting. A very good story.
Yeah. Like, yeah. So like, yeah. So that's kind of like, that would be really, really exciting to have Naomi Klein on the Scenic Route.
Oh my gosh. Well, you said it.
Yes, we're calling it into life now. If
We are.
anyone knows her or her agent, there you go.
Yeah, let Jennifer know.
What is
Oh
it?
my
The how many 11 grades of separation or what is it? 7 grade? I don't know.
I thought it was like 3 degrees of
Three
separation.
degrees. I even know. So okay, so
You don't even need
someone of
seven.
you know someone. There you go. Off you go.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's
They're of
amazing.
course like also they're also like writers. Uh now that is someone from Ireland and a writer, Claire Keegan.
Oh,
She writes Irish short stories. Anyone know Claire Keegan? Bring her on the Scenic Route podcast.
oh my God. Okay, I'm really glad that I asked this question because we're just putting two and two together now. It
Yes,
just makes
yes,
sense.
yes.
Oh my gosh. So when you like think about, from season to season and how maybe you've changed as a person, are there any like whether they're like subtle shifts or like bigger shifts that you've experienced? Like, are there any that you feel ready, like in this moment, to kind of look back on and acknowledge a little bit?
For sure. I think that the biggest shift that is obvious if you kind of like look at the history of the episodes and stuff is I think up until episode 87, I think they
Mhm.
were all interviews, me interviewing someone. And from then on now until now, it's for it's more it's more balanced with slightly leaning to more person like just me
Mhm.
talking episodes. and less interviews.
Yeah.
So that is definitely a shift.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I also kind of like started out with wanting to share and like other voices and other ideas. So that was one thing, and then I don't know. And there was this shift of like, you know what? I could also just like talk to me, like just record how like my thought processes,
Yeah.
and see how many people are are tuning in, and people stayed
Yeah.
with that. So I'm like, good Lord, thank you.
And how, yeah, how did that feel to know like, oh wow, it gets to be like just you and your thought. It's almost like, right? It's like your journal because you're having this like stream of consciousness, these like brain dump of like all the thoughts that are have been percolating or the things you've been feeling or thinking. Like, how did that feel to be like, oh wow, people are sticking around for us. Like they are interested in what's like in my brain.
Yeah, that was, I mean, that was a really beautiful like validation for sure. And at the same time, it's kind of like, um, yeah, it also raises stakes at some point, right? Like, because I'm
Yeah.
like, now I'm sharing, I don't have to, like, I wasn't hiding behind a guest, but I don't have a guest kind of like to
Yeah.
front and center now. And although like my beliefs always came true with the interviews,
Mhm.
it was truly now like just me, myself, and my crazy thoughts. Um, so it was really like, oh, okay. I also kind of have to. I also don't want it just to be kind of like me rambling, right? I always strive to have this balance of we gotta have to rage against the system. This is
Mhm.
crucial, and I want you to leave this podcast with not just like utter despair, but with like, I don't know, hope, joy, or something something tangible you can do yourself to feel better. Like
Yeah.
to really have this both, and this kind of like having this antidote of, oh, it's just like me, my mental health, and I, where I'm like, well, yes, it's important. Your mental health is important, but you can do affirmations all day long if you're living in a broken system. Like,
Hmm.
it's not gonna do you much good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, to kind of like bridge that. So yeah, it was really always kind of like how, okay, let's put this kind of like more on, yeah, not me rambling, which I'm doing now.
No, well, this is the beautiful thing about this. It's your podcast and it's your stream of consciousness, right? Of like whatever it is. Like, do you have this feeling before you start a podcast of like this trust of like, I trust whatever I'm gonna say or whatever twists and turns
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
gonna happen? Like, do you feel that reflected in this process? And then, like, as a part two, like, how have you allowed yourself to feel that in your life, right? Because there has had to probably be a lot of trust, even amongst the times where you felt like the fear is big or the systems are annoying or this or that. Like, how has that building of trust been for you in the
mm-hmm.
podcast and then like outside of it too?
Yeah. Ooh. Um, in the podcast, like what I do is, um, so I have one process for interviews, which is I don't send like predefined questions to the people I interview. We agree on kind of like a general theme of the conversation, and then we just kind of like let it roll.
Hmm.
This requires like more prep on my part, or more skill in leading the conversation,
Hmm.
depending on who I'm talking to kind of like being able to pull the all like everything kind of like back together, so listeners are like, okay, now I think I got the point of this whole conversation. um and really be like, oh, okay, cool. um So, and when I my own episodes, I kind of briefly sketch what I want to talk about,
Mhm.
what are like my main points.
Yeah.
Um, and then I'm just kind of like having a go at it. Um, and trying not to like edit too much or whatever. Um, yeah, and there is this trust that yeah, what will land with it. I mean, there have been episodes where that were more controversial. Um,
Hmm.
and all, I mean, most of the episodes are are Polaroid snapshots of that moment in time.
Yeah.
If I would go back now and do another episode on, I don't know, wild kindness, I probably
Mhm.
would say something completely different.
Yeah.
And I also don't really know what I said in my episodes. Like
Moment. Yeah.
because I'm in my flow. Like
Yeah.
you could ask me, you could tell me like, "Oh, this was like super smart thing you said there." And I would be like, "Huh, okay." And I would go through this transcript of like, "Oh, that was the bit. Oh, that was really fucking smart." Right? Like I wouldn't know. I'm in
Yeah.
my stream of consciousness. I'm in my flow. You can ask me, I wouldn't know. Like I would be like, "What? Did I say that? Wow, okay, that sounds smart. Maybe I did. I don't know." Like that's just completely different. And
No,
then
I
so
love
that's
that.
kind of like I trust how I grew to trust this creative process
Hmm.
um of knowing, okay, um I I mean that is based on years of knowing worst to worst I can wing it.
Yeah.
Like I can trust myself to wing it
Yeah.
at a level that is more or less acceptably okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, do I have conversations where I'm like, man, I should have asked this too? Of course, right?
Hmm.
That's like, I think
Yeah.
that's the thing, right? Or
Mhm.
when you listen to an old episode and then I don't know, we take a turn. Of course, I could like go back and mull over that we could also have taken another turn,
Yeah.
but it is the way it is, right? Like that's I don't know. I don't know,
Yeah.
crying over spilled milk. I don't think that's much
Yeah.
use. And if there's I don't know, we're just gonna invite the person again.
Well, exactly. And I think that's the really cool part. And like in you sharing, and I have a very similar thing, and I'm sure there's lots of other people like that when you're so present in the moment of like in your flow, right?
Yeah.
I'll have the same thing, and I'm like, I have no idea what I said. And that's the beauty, I think, of having all of this captured, right? So like other people can go back, so you can go back if you feel like it. Or if you're like, oh wow, this year later. I'm listening to this or someone's talking about this and it's bringing up these questions for me because I've evolved as a person,
Yeah,
right? You evolved as that person, you have different questions, right?
100%. And that's why I also think I'm also sharing old episodes because even
Hmm.
when I like sometimes listen into like old episodes or reels from old episodes, I'm like, oh wow, this probably does say something totally different to me than it did then.
Yeah,
So even if you're now like, oh, I've listened to all the Scenic Route episodes, like go back to episode 1 or 2. Like there's always because you have changed, the episodes will reveal another like kernel of truth to you.
totally. And that's why I think like you sharing in the beginning how like repetition you've noticed like that is a big part of your work. And I think that's something that I also realized too when I began to feel like, oh, maybe I should like have new ideas or maybe I should like explore this. It was never like this space of like, oh, wait, but I actually like it feels important to like look at this, right? And so going back to even looking at the archive of stuff that I've like thought about or written about, it's very much the same thing, but maybe in a little bit of a different flavor. Maybe this one's a little more zesty. Maybe this one's a
Oh,
little more,
yeah. No, but
you
this
know,
is it, right? Like, I mean,
and it's these things that are important and why they keep circling back is because it's like it is very impactful to have the same kind of things repeated, whether it's for ourselves, for other people, both in different ways because they like you said they land differently. They land differently in different points of our lives, or phrasing in a certain way lands differently, and it
Yeah.
begins to make a little bit more sense as you go. But the beauty is like, yeah, we get to again just kind of have like new epiphanies, even though maybe you look back and you're like, oh yeah, like that is something that I was already thinking about 3 years ago and talking about and exploring, but now it just feels different. Like there's a different evolution to it. Is that something like you resonate with?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always like also interesting to yeah, give yourself the permission to reshare things, right? And I mean, of course, with that, I mean, there's the odd voice every now and then of like, there she goes, yapping on about like capitalism and like feminism and like blah. And I'm like, yeah, fair point.
But like
I
change
mean,
the
at the end of the
channel.
day, there's only so many ways you can say, you look, you should take a breath. You should really
Yeah.
breathe. Just breathe. Right? There's only so many ways you can actually say that, right? Because so many issues would be solved if you would just slow down and take a breath. But
Mhm.
like, okay, so once we say it that way and then we phrase it slightly different, right? And
Yeah.
that's also the thing of like what we had earlier with these repetitions, right? Just kind of like giving yourself the permission to like do variations of it, like hone it, go
Mhm.
deeper, and not just like with always with something completely different. And
Mhm.
I'm not necessarily doing a super good job about it. Like there are people, okay, their shtick is like environment or like sustainability.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of like in the intersection of like personal mental health, social change,
Mhm.
fuck capitalism, and like somewhat political philosophy, sociology, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. Um, and that in itself is like a super broad field,
Mhm.
which is sometimes making it also hard for people to know, okay, what should we ask? What kind of questions should we ask her? Like, what is
Right.
she like qualified to talk about?
Or
So,
where does this fit, right? This like body of work and curiosity and research essentially that you've created, right? And I always think about that too. Like, this is probably a year ago when I was like getting into my writing again as well and thought, oh, well, if I wrote a book, like where would it fit in the bookstore, right? And I kind of just walked through a few bookstores and like, you look at the categories and you're like, where would this fit? And it's like maybe you're not quite sure, or you're like it could be here, here, and here, and like I just came up. I don't even know if this is a real thing, but I was like, it's like speculative philosophy. Like that's the whole point is maybe like not really knowing, but still like asking those questions, right? And I think there is this new, I don't know if it is a new genre of work that people are creating, and like yes, as you said, your work could fit into all these different categories,
yeah,
but
I
it's
mean, where it would fit,
speculative.
like I know where it would fit, right? Like my tradition of thinking is very much critical theory.
Yeah,
Um, so that's like that's a that's a that's a
solid.
given, right? Like that would be where
Yeah.
it would be in the book in a brick and mortar bookshelf, right? Like
Yeah.
I mean, and if you go with like critical theory, I mean,
Mhm.
of course you go, I mean, you have work from like Marcuse, Adorno, Horkheimer, you have Nietzsche, Weber, Hegel, Marx, like it is that tradition
Mm.
that it goes on mixed in with intersectional feminism work. So
Yeah.
that's so kind of like the theoretical tradition that or
Mhm.
foundation. So yeah, in the bookshop I would be there in the critical theory
So
or
check out the
equally.
bookshops in like a year or two from now and
Well,
and
that's
maybe
I think my first book's gonna be a novel, but
yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know. I mean,
You'll let us know
it would
where
be
it is.
then it would be under like weird women tell stories. So, I don't know. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I really
Yeah.
think it's gonna have some autobiographic notions in it.
Yeah.
I, yeah, the fragments are coming, but they're all in a. in an order that doesn't make sense yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I got that. I have my notes. My notes app is just
I yeah,
messy. I
I have
don't
like
know. I'm like, did I
sentences,
write
and I'm
that?
like,
Did
that is
someone else
such a
write
good
it?
sentence.
Yeah. Well, and then sometimes I'm like, did I write that? Like, I want to make sure I wrote that because I don't remember, right? I'm like, I'm like, do I need to like Google this? Like, I don't know, right? But no,
Yeah,
it's so
yeah,
interesting. Like, and there's that play to it, right? And so do you like feel like looking back, there is like whether it's like a string of play that's like woven into the conception or the process or like what people will find amongst all of
yeah.
the content you've created. Um, how has that been like something that also is a priority for you amongst, you know, going against the systems and ensuring like there is that element of you honoring the things that are also like very important to you? How has like play been a piece of that?
I mean, play has been a big part of everything I do since I like
Mhm.
majorly burned out. And and it's just kind of like, okay, let's just see what feels fun. Um, and I mean, in terms of like raging against the system, it's always kind of like, I mean, uh, yes, I try, and then at the same time, I'm like playing by the algorithms of
Mhm.
social media apps, and that's very much not raging against the system. Um, like all these things, but play, yeah, play has always been a big part of it. And just kind of like curiosity and like
Mhm.
almost maybe childlike curiosity and just being like,
Mhm.
would that be fun to do? And then just kind of like go see it. Because, yeah, I was at the point where I did so many things that weren't fun at all. And I'm not saying everything should be fun and like yada yada, some toxic positivity shit, but
Mhm.
I, I mean, there's always things you might not like to do as much. Um, but you see like they're part of the process or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, right, if I don't know, if the scale tips and you realize, I don't know, more than I want, more than my fair share of things I do are not fun,
Mhm.
that, yeah, that was really not a nice wake up call for me back then, like a couple of years ago.
And so now, like being in this moment, like in the future of all those things that happened like all those years ago, um, are there like different ingredients aside from play that you feel like have been those like instrumental ingredients that have allowed you to navigate the scenic route in a way that has been like giving you that yourself that permission to like prioritize or to play or to whatever it is like nourishment or whatever it is you needed, like if you had to bake a cake maybe what would those like little ingredients be?
Ooh, Scenic Route cake.
Vinegar
Um,
cake, cupcakes, whatever, it doesn't have to be a cake.
yeah. No, I want cake though. Um, well, it's this. It's surely as I don't know. You need 1 or 2 cups of self-trust if we're gonna stay with the baking metaphors.
Yeah.
Like just kind of like this thing that you can rely on yourself and that
Mm-hmm.
you'll have your back. Even if, I don't know, everything goes to shit. Um, you will treat yourself with kindness and compassion and not like crap all over yourself. And the meaning, all these words sometimes we're almost too afraid to do something because we know we're like, we might be our own worst enemy and like give ourselves crap about it.
Mm-hmm.
And like that voice, like, oh, I told you this was a stupid idea, you dumb bitch, right? Like that kind of um nagging inside voice. So really kind of like, and and that's and and that's always kind of like the mistake people make of like, oh, then maybe she was born with it, right? But it's
Yeah.
like maybe, but also a lot of the self-trust thing and all other things, compassion, kindness, and so on, i- it's really a muscle, right?
Mhm.
You have to start where you're at and then kind of like grow it incrementally, step by
Like a
step.
sourdough starter. It's kind of
Yeah, it will grow, right? When you tend to
right,
it and
keeping
when
your
you
baby
work with it and when you like stretch it, then it grows a bit and then you stretch it again
alive.
and it grows a bit more. Um, and that process is really shit. It's not fun.
Yeah.
Makes me feel like shit most of the time, right?
Yeah.
It's that awkward phase of I did some. I'm like, when you start doing something, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna. Whoa, you're full of like woohoo, right? And between that and like seeing the first fruits of your labor, right? That in the middle part, the messy in the middle, where a lot of people quit or a lot of people are like losing faith. That's really where it's kind of like you gotta keep on going. And I know it feels shit. It's not
Yeah.
fun to be there,
Yeah.
right? But the more resilient you you yourself can be in these parts, like the easier you will walk through them.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 And like amongst that discomfort, I guess how, like for you and choosing, right, to keep going and choosing to like still believe in yourself and trust yourself amongst that discomfort, like how has that now, like in this moment, like you being able to celebrate that, is that something that is like easier for you to celebrate, or is it something that still feels like just as maybe uncomfortable as expected or as uncomfortable, like, talking about it now and how it is shitty, right?
Yeah, like I sh it's easier in some aspects as I've built a muscle. I have memories that are like locked in my body and my body like remembers of how
Mm,
that was and how that felt like.
yeah.
And at the same time, it doesn't always translate to other areas of your life or whatever, right? You might be, you might have had, you might have great business resilience.
Hmm.
Doesn't necessarily mean though I don't know, you hold yourself with compassion and resilience in other areas.
Right. Yeah. And
So,
so,
mm,
yeah, you go.
no, no,
You're
no, go, go.
It looked like you were processing something else. I guess that was kind of,
I'm always processing something else.
yeah,
So,
it kind of leads me to this idea, right? Of like maybe feeling like we need to have it all and we need to have it all at once, right? Like even though we have this resilience in one part of our lives and we don't in the other, there can be that gap for people to give up because they're like, well, why don't I have it all? Why don't I have it all right now? Is that something that you've um ever, like just from starting, like who you were before the podcast and who you are now, is that something that feels a lot different for you, like in that contrast of the Jennifer before really like making this decision to go on this like scenic route, um and who you are now, like is that, does that gap, that discomfort maybe sometimes between that gap, like do you really feel like, yeah, it even though I know it's there, like there is that power and strength in knowing like I don't have to have it all at once.
oh, this is almost kind of like very deep philosophical
It,
question where I'm like,
maybe you
I don't
don't have to
know.
have know the
I don't know
answer.
because choosing always closes other possibilities. That's just the way
Yeah.
it goes, right? Like,
Mhm.
um, and that's okay because I think a lot of the time people really struggle with just making a goddamn decision.
Yeah.
And most decisions, you take are reversible. And
Mhm.
you can always kind of like choose again and choose differently. But
Right.
it's I've really found that this whole having it all, it's very a consumerist, perfectionist, neo-capitalistic sense. And it's quite unsustainable, literally, for anything and anyone, right?
Mhm.
Um, and if if you really think about it, when you think about the paradox of, if you chase everything,
Mhm.
if you want to have it all, you have to chase everything, right? So
Right.
kind of like that's, and if you do that, you undermine your own autonomy, right? You live by external ideals that should be everything
Mhm.
because you can't have it all, right? If you have it all, you chase everything, you don't really, you chase what everyone else thinks you should have. And
Mhm.
it isn't anymore about what you want to have or more concrete about you having what matters most to you. So it's really about being conscious of your own autonomy and your own agency in this and actually thinking like, okay, what matters to me most and go after that.
Yeah. And that's what will take you down the path to who knows where and who knows what way, won't it?
Yeah, for better or for worse.
Well, it brought us to this moment right here, right now. And before we started, you mentioned it was like almost 3 years ago to the day where we met for the first time and were able to record an episode for this very podcast. So that feels really cool and very lucky, I would say. So kind of just one last question, like looking forward, you had mentioned there's, this desire to maybe see what it looks like offline a little bit for the podcast. Is there anything else that you're excited to like share with people, whether it came up in this conversation, whether it was kind of like an inkling that you've been having recently, anything that you're um, hoping to share like in the episodes to come that people can kind of get excited for?
Oh, that's the thing. Like, I don't really plan like all these episodes out, like so much in advance.
Right.
Mhm. So I'm like, I actually don't even know what we're gonna talk about next week.
I love that.
Um, so it will come to me and then I'll record.
Yeah.
So this has become very much of a kind of like do what what comes in front of me that I feel like there's something I need to say about this.
Right.
Um, and I don't know. I really don't know yet what that might look like. Um, but yeah, I'm curious of maybe I don't know, see how like where it goes, right? Maybe right now a lot of it's kind of like a mix between self-help and like system critique, which I love. Um, and there is uh, always kind of like a sense of I feel it should always be fun to listen to, and there maybe are some comedy elements in it. I don't know. And I'm sometimes think like, oh, I don't know, maybe it would be fun to do like a fun episode.
Yeah.
Like something that at first glance seems absolute nonsense, but then when you think about it, it's actually deeper than you think. I
Yeah.
once had an idea of I recently bought two cookbooks and I shared them on my stories and then I got someone wrote me like, "Oh, this is cool. Like these look great. Are they cool? Are they great? Like because the last two cookbooks I bought were shit."
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'm like, "Oh," and then I had like a whole outline of like how to choose the right cookbook for you.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay, because
I had like a whole outline for an episode I could do
I'm
on
a
like how to
cookbook
choose the right
collector.
cookbook. Hmm?
Yeah, I'm a cookbook collector. So, and like in the vegetarian sector.
Yeah.
But it's like it was this thing where I had to eventually like tell myself like you need to stop because I wouldn't use them because I'm just like, oh, like it was almost about the collecting and the curating. So it's interesting that curating element. I'm ready for that episode. My gosh.
Yeah, like so I've really let go of the curate, like I boiled it down to like a neat family. I'm looking over there where my books are. I'm like, yes, I'm talking about you, you bad boys. Like, but
Yeah.
it's a very created space,
Yeah.
and it has slimmed down over the years.
Yeah.
So and then I don't know, I had this outline and this idea, and then it was like really, yeah. Again, choosing the right cookbook depends again on you being really honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like the same way you buy shoes and outfits for that
Yeah.
person you might be someday, you buy cookbooks for you might be that cook or host someday.
I love that. What a good way to look at it, right? Thank you for
So and then I'm like, should I do this? Isn't this like too trivial or like too nonsensy? And then I'm like, well, people know I'm weird, so I probably could get away with it. Like, so
maybe
that's
there is this
maybe the cookbook
invitation to
episode will
embrace.
come. Maybe it
Maybe,
will even come before you listen to this podcast,
oh my gosh, right?
but just know it has a long story of coming into existence.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And maybe this is that invitation for you to like give yourself that permission to embrace more of that weird because we love that weird and it gives other people permission to embrace more of their weird too, right? And just like do the thing they've been thinking about because it's fun, right? Because it's
Yeah, exactly. And because it's fun and also because it's not frivolous, right? There's always you can always tie it back to something that is to a message that's truly important to you.
yeah.
And and then again, right? I even had now I remember I even had a really good intro of something along the lines of if you think like this is like super like totally like frivolous and not serious to talk about cookbooks given whatever, I can tell you I take my food very seriously.
I love that. I love that. Oh my gosh. Well,
All these
maybe,
lines scribbled in my notes. So I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, okay, maybe it's coming into existence. How to choose the perfect cookbook.
I'm like, oh, can I come for a supper club? Right? Oh my gosh. Well, it's always so
Yeah,
fun.
when you're here, you come over.
Yeah, right. And then I'll either bring one of my cookbooks or you can help me pick or you can give me
You don't
the
have to bring your own cookbooks. That would be literally insane because I have so many and they're like most, I would say 90% of them are in English.
Oh my gosh.
And a
Perfect.
lot of them are also vegetarian or vegan or have vegetarian or vegan options in them. So it would be literally insane.
Oh my gosh. It's so good. Well, perfect. And then we can move through the criteria of like which
Like,
ones.
this is me and my hand luggage. It's overweight because I brought cookbooks.
It wouldn't be the first time that I've done that.
True, true. Like, I mean, usually it's on my way back from
True.
places where I'm
Yeah,
like, ooh, I should get this.
totally.
Um, yeah.
Add it in. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for just like having this space for people to explore and get curious and like having 3 years of the scenic route is a big celebration like for you but I think for all the people who have been listening whether it was from the beginning or like even recently right like there's just such a beautiful collection of like it's like data, it's like inspiration, it's like storytelling, it's like all the things, right? And so just thank you for creating this for all of us to be a part of and to enjoy in whatever way we all do. And just like hats off to you. I'm so glad that I get to take the scenic route with you too. And it's brought us together. And I can't imagine what my life would be like without this podcast, which is how we connected. So I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for turning tables with this magical episode 111.
111.
111, very magical episode. And yeah, this is the really the joyful thing, right? Like you never know who comes like crosses your path because of something you put out. Um, and it's also not really, yeah, as I said at the beginning, right? Also luck plays into it, and so it's really give yourself permission to not maybe fully know for whom this is for that you're creating,
Yeah.
and then create and then see where it should be so people can find it.
I love that. It's such good advice because we hear all too much that we need to know who our audience is, who we're speaking to, this and that. But like you said, when it comes from the heart, like there's no better, stronger, like beautiful place than that. So,
Yeah, and I mean, there's, I mean, I worked in brand and design for over 20 years, so there is merit to that.
there is. Yeah.
Like, I would really be like, most of us have not didn't go into like our careers or self-employments because we like, oh, we love digital marketing and social media, right? Like most of us were like, I want to do this thing or I want to create this thing. And how I don't know if there's like an it imagine if you're like I think a lot of service providers do this. If if you're an artist, you paint the painting the way you think you want to paint it. I hope anyway. I don't think you're like, oh, I know my pink paintings sell better than my green paintings, so I'm just gonna paint pink now.
Hmm.
I mean, one way to look at things. Um,
Yeah.
but I like true creativity is deeper than that. So you're just gonna paint however you want to paint, what to kind of like as an expression, and then you go look, okay, how can I market this? How can I like where does it need to be for people to be seen
Yeah.
and not just kind of create with unless you're creating a very problem like unless you're really like I see they have a problem and I'm going to create a product or solution for that problem. Different story. But right, if you're like a book or a podcast or a painting or whatever it is, I wouldn't create with them in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a time and a place and a way for everything. And sometimes we don't need
Yeah.
to know all those details, and sometimes we do. But for the times we don't, then yeah, if we can just
Yeah.
follow like from that
Create
place of
from the heart and then kind of like and then tailor your marketing to the different to whomever.
yeah. Another ingredient for the cake.
Yes, yes, yes. Now I really want a cake.
Oh my gosh. Well, if you had to, like you know how people ask, like, what animal would you be? If the scenic route had was a cake, what cake would it be?
Oh my God. What cake would a scenic route be? Man, I don't know.
Maybe
Oh,
you need
I would
to.
say something with an unexpected twist. Let's
Mm,
see. Something, something like salted caramel, like it's both.
yeah.
And you're like, Um, I don't know, maybe something lemon olive oil bun cake or something.
Oh my gosh.
You
Well, I've
know,
been
like
watching the Bake Off, so that's what I'm thinking.
like
I'm like,
simple,
it's
like it
cinnamon.
sounds simple, but it's
Yeah.
complex.
Yeah. And it's delicious.
Yeah, yes, it has to be delicious, otherwise it's whatever. And it's not like it's definitely not one of those like super glossy overdone cakes,
Mm,
with the icing and whatever whatnot. It's more
yeah.
like maybe one of those like naked cakes or those rough cakes where it's
Mm,
kind of like I don't know. It just looks the way it looks.
yeah. A little organic, a little unexpected. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not one of those like sugar coated perfect cakes.
No. Oh my gosh.
Mm.
Well, that's going to be a great way to celebrate this. So when you get that recipe together, you can let us know.
Yeah, the Scenic Route lemon olive bun cake.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's
Okay,
so
yeah, I will have to come up with this or someone who's better skilled in baking than I am.
I love it. We'll make it together.
That sounds good. Yeah, you bring your butt over and we do that.
Yeah. Well, this was so fun. I literally, my cheeks always hurt after I chat with you, but and today's definitely
Sure.
not different. So, uh,
Well, thank you so much for switching
you.
tables with me.
Thank you for being willing to do this and for like trusting me through this process. I feel like whenever we're together, it just really flows, and I'm always curious about your inner working. So thank you for showing up with that honesty as you always do and that trust. And yeah, it really means the world to me. And I can't wait to see what's next, whatever
Ooh,
that
me
means. It's
too. Me
coming.
too. Me too. Bye.
Bye.